dark, stormy night, as lightning flashed and thunder roared, a small hut on the edge of a village caught fire. The flames grew bigger and brighter, and inside the hut, a beautiful young woman named Elara was trapped. She was scared, but too weak to escape. As the villagers watched from afar, they saw something strange, a big, mysterious footprint leading away from the burning hut into the night. The footprint was so big, it couldn't have been made by a person. It was cold, even in the heat of the fire, and it seemed to carry a dark secret. Before this terrible night, there was Elara, a 25-year-old woman with dark skin that glowed like polished wood under the sun. She was known in the village for her kindness and her beauty. Elara lived alone in a small hut that had been passed down to her by her family. Her hut was at the very edge of the village, close to the forest. One evening, as the sun was setting and the sky turned orange and purple, a storm began to gather. The wind started to blow hard, and soon heavy rain began to fall. As Elara was preparing her dinner, she heard a soft knock on her door. When she opened it, she found a tall man standing there. He was wrapped in an old, torn cloak, and he was shivering from the cold. The man's face was mostly hidden, but Elara could see his sad, tired eyes. He didn't say much, but Elara felt sorry for him and invited him inside. She gave him a blanket, made him some hot food, and let him sit by the fire to warm up. Elara didn't ask him any questions, even though she was a little curious. In her village, it was important to be kind to strangers because you never knew who they might be. As the man stayed in Elara's hut, things started to change. The warm, cozy feeling in her home began to disappear. The fire didn't seem to warm the room as it usually did, and the shadows on the walls looked longer and darker. The animals that used to visit Elara's garden stopped coming, and the cheerful sounds of nature seemed to go quiet. Elara also began to have bad dreams. Every night she dreamt of dark, scary shapes moving through the forest. She would wake up sweating and frightened, only to find the man sitting quietly by the fire, his eyes watching her. Elara started to feel very tired all the time. Her bright smile faded, and she didn't have the energy to take care of her garden or visit the village anymore. One morning, Elara woke up to find that the man was gone. His blanket was neatly folded, and his bowl was clean and put away. But there was no sign of him anywhere. For a moment, Elara felt relieved, thinking that the strange feeling in her house would go away now that he was gone. But instead, things got even worse. The hut became colder and darker. The shadows seemed to move on their own, and strange noises filled the air. Elara became weaker and weaker, and the villagers, who had noticed that she was no longer visiting them, became worried. They wanted to help, but whenever they came near her hut, they felt a strong sense of fear, as if something was pushing them away. Then, on that fateful night, the storm arrived. The wind howled and lightning struck the big baobab tree near Elara's hut. The tree caught fire, and soon the flames spread to her roof. The fire grew quickly, and Elara, too weak to escape, was trapped inside. As the flames took over the hut, the villagers could see her inside, unable to move. They wanted to help, but the fire was too strong. Then, just as the hut was about to collapse, they saw it, the big, strange footprint leading away from the burning hut into the dark, stormy night. When the storm was over, the villagers went to see what was left of Elara's hut. All they found were ashes and that single large footprint. The footprint was so big, and it didn't look like it had been made by a person or any animal they knew. The villagers followed the footprint, but it led them only to the edge of the forest, where it disappeared. The villagers were left with many questions. Who was the man who came to Elara's hut? Why did things become so strange after he arrived? And what did the giant footprint mean? No one knew for sure, but everyone agreed on one thing. Elara was a kind and beautiful woman whose story ended in a way that no one could have expected. From that day on, the villagers told the story of Elara as a reminder to be careful, even when being kind. They remembered her for her generosity, but they also remembered the mysterious stranger and the dark, chilling footprint that left them all wondering what really happened on that stormy night.